Hello, it's day 103, I think. Let's keep watching. Yeah, 103. Let's keep watching that video from Skillcat. I'm going to mute myself.
Love Roblox? Earn Roblox digital gift cards with Microsoft Rewards. Sign up.
Laning. Laning is simply the term that we use here as lovers of League to describe playing against your opponent in one of the 3 lanes. Here's where League really starts to get tricky though, especially for new players, as how that lane actually plays out depends entirely on which champion you picked and what opponent you're up against. But here's the good news about all this. No matter what champion that you're playing or who you're facing, you're and naturally learn when and why they matter and the best times to take them. But for now, just know that these exist, and if your teams are looking to take one, be ready to help them. And now that we've gone through everything about the map and all of its objectives, let's zoom back in on what you're actually going to spend most of your time doing each and every game. Laning. Laning is simply the term that we use here as lovers of League to describe playing against your opponent in one of the 3 lanes. Here's where League really starts to get tricky though, especially for new players, as how that lane actually plays out depends entirely on which champion you picked and what opponent you're up against. But here's the good news about all this. No matter what champion that you're playing or who you're facing, your goal is always going to be the same. Become stronger than your opponent. And how you do that is by earning more gold and gaining more experience. Sounds pretty simple, right? Which is why before we go any further with this, you need to meet the most important things on Summoner's Rift. Minions. Minions start marching down the lanes at 30 seconds after the game starts, and then every 30 seconds after that. This ramps up as the game progresses on, but don't worry about that for now. With each of these waves of minions consisting of 3 melee and 3 casters, and every 3rd wave having a siege minion, again ramping up over time, with more waves having siege minions as the game progresses. Oh, and to overwhelm you with even more information on top of everything else that we've already given you, there's also these things called super minions that spawn when an enemy's inhibitor gets killed, but that's not important for right now. I just simply wanted to say that. So throughout the game, minions are your primary source of both experience and gold. To put their value into perspective for you here, you get 300 gold for killing a champion, while last hitting a minion is going to give you an average of around 20 gold. So just last hitting 15 minions, which is a little over 3 waves, is the equivalent of a kill, not to mention all the additional experience that you gain from it. This is also why you can't just randomly leave your lane whenever you feel like it. Sure, you might pick up a kill or 2 roaming around the map to other lanes, but you'd be bleeding gold and bleeding experience the entire time you do it, which is also why securing that last hit on minions is one of the most crucial skills to develop in League and get better. One recent addition to the game to help with this is last hit assist. You can toggle it on in the settings, and although it's only available in the non-ranked play, this is going to show a white indicator on a minion's health bar when your auto attack is enough to secure the kill. But aside from farming minions, you can also get ahead of the lane by fighting your opponent. And this is what in League terms we like to call trading. You're going to hear that a lot in pretty much any YouTube channel about League, either through a combination of your champion's basic attacks by right-clicking or using one of your 4 abilities, that is trading with another champion. Now, there's something about minions that a lot of new players really don't realize. They actually act like tiny bodyguards. This works through something called minion aggro. And basically, if an enemy champion attacks you while you're standing near your minions, those minions will immediately turn around and start attacking them back, which in the early game does a considerable amount of damage. Anyway, even if you don't kill your opponent, coming out ahead in these trades can still lead to you being stronger. You could force that champion to have to return to base and heal. They're going to miss out on golden experience from minions while they're gone, or maybe you just damage them enough that they get scared and start playing way further back. Now, when this happens, you've now got what we like to call lane priority, just a fancy way of saying that you're the one in control. With lane priority, you're able to leave your lane first if your team needs help with those pesky objectives that we were just speaking about earlier. Now, I can already hear half of you asking me this. How do I know when I win trades? And yeah, to be completely honest, it's kind of complicated. Like, without a doubt, it's the most complicated part of League of Legends as a whole, and there's not really an easy way to answer this. This champion gets countered by that champion. This one wins early but loses late. This one's weak until level 6. This one needs this certain item to be strong. Blah, 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 blah. There's over 170 champions in League, and not even the best players in the world are going to know the ins and outs of every single matchup. You're just not going to find it. But the good news is you don't need to worry about any of that to actually start winning trades and coming out ahead in lane. There are simple fundamentals you can learn that work no matter what champion you're playing or playing against. Things like fighting when you have a level advantage, basing at the right time, or even just how you build your champion. But listen, that's far too much to cover in this single video, which we've already blown your ear up about on all the other things that we've talked about, which is why we made a beginner course focused entirely on laning and minions. It walks through all the stuff that actually decides your early game without assuming you already know everything, from matchup fundamentals to super practical things like how to last hit under tower without guessing, all these habits that experienced players use every single game without even thinking or realizing that they were noobs like you at one time. And once you learn these things, laning, it stops feeling so they were noobs like you at one time. And once you learn these things, laning, it stops feeling so overwhelming. But anyway, something we've neglected to mention up to this point of the video is the fact that Summoner's Rift is covered in what's known as Fog of War. You can only see what's happening in areas where you or your team currently have vision. Everything else, it stays in the dark and it stays hidden, which you can see on the minimap right here. The good news is that your whole team shares that vision. If your teammate can see something, you can see it too. This shared vision comes from several different sources. It comes from allied champions, friendly minions, towers, wards, and even Phaelites. Throughout Summoner's Rift, you're also going to find bushes of all shapes and sizes. Now, while they might look different, they all follow the same rules, and these rules are slightly different to your standard Fog of War. Even if you have vision of the area around a bush, you still can't see inside that bush itself unless you have direct vision inside, which you can get from any of the same sources. So that's allied champions, minions, wards placed inside the bush, or even certain champion abilities. Anyway, wards. These are items you can purchase and even get given for free that you can place on that map to give yourself and your team vision of the surrounding area. There are two types of wards to talk about here. You have stealth wards and control wards, which you'll often hear be called pink wards for obvious reasons. Stealth wards, they're invisible wards that everyone starts with thanks to your free trinket, and that's this thing right here that we mentioned earlier, given to you automatically at the start of every game, which by default is going to be bound to 4. These are free to use and they'll passively recharge over time. When you place them, they turn invisible after a short delay, and they stay hidden from enemies unless they use special tools to detect those wards. As long as they're active, they're going to grant you and your team vision of the surrounding area. You can see how long your stealth ward will last by the white bar right here. Once these time out or get destroyed by your opponent, that ward will disappear, and you're going to lose vision of that area. Control wards are a little bit different though, and they can be purchased for 75 gold in the shop. These not only provide you vision and last indefinitely, but more importantly, they reveal and disable enemy stealth wards in that area, allowing you to destroy them, with two limitations that we need to talk about here. They're visible to enemies, meaning if they spot them, they can see and destroy them, and you can only have one active on the map at a given time. This makes them super valuable for making sure certain areas like important objectives or gank paths stay completely under your team's control. Anytime during the game, you can also visit the shop and trade your yellow ward trinket for one of the two other options. The Farsight or blue trinket, which basically just allows you to place a ward and gain vision from really far away, or the red trinket, known as Oracle Lens or Sweeper. This one plays an important role in Vision minigame, as when it's used, it's going to scan the area around your champion, revealing any hidden enemy stealth wards, temporarily disabling those and making them visible for just long enough for you to destroy them. Typically, they're picked up by junglers and supports. Now, you might remember earlier in the video when we mentioned that supports play a huge role when it comes to vision control. That's because as a support progresses their role quest, their starting item upgrades, unlocking replenishable stealth wards that refresh every time they return to base. This makes supports the only role that can place wards consistently throughout the game, outside of the single control ward you can have down and the basic free yellow trinket everyone gets. One brand new change to Vision in 2026, though, is the addition of Phaelites, which you'll see placed around the map. What these do is they mark ideal spots to place your wards, since not only are they positioned in high traffic areas and common ward spots, but when placing a ward in one, you'll also reveal an area around them, letting you spot enemies earlier and giving you more time to react. But now, let's jump to the good stuff. Choosing your champion. League, as we mentioned, has over 170 unique champions, and finding one that fits your playstyle perfectly, it's going to take some time, and that is okay. But in the meantime, we do have a couple of super easy to learn suggestions you should try out for each role. Starting off in the top lane, our first pick is Garen. Garen is the quintessential top lane bruiser, and one of the most beginner-friendly champions in the entire game. His Q gives you a burst of movement speed, bonus damage on your next attack, and silences the target. His W grants bonus tank stats, and when activated, gives you a shield that reduces incoming damage, and his E, well, makes you spin around and deal massive damage to anything around you. Then his ultimate is a crazy single-target execute that ignores defensive stats, and it makes it really easy to finish off low-health enemies. Basically, his kit all fits together in the most intuitive way possible. You press Q to run your target, you press W to take less damage, auto them once, and then hit E to spin to win, finishing them off with your ultimate once they drop low enough. And to top it all off, Garen's passive makes it really hard to deal with him in lane, as you passively regenerate health when you haven't taken damage for a short time, reducing their attacks to the closest enemy. Two parts. First, it makes last-hitting minions an absolute breeze, as you'll automatically execute low-health minions. Mage-type champions, then our first suggestion is Arcane's very pick is Jinx. This amount of time. Now, when it comes to building your champion of choice, there's two things to consider: runes and items. However, unlike a lot of games, Riot has made this process a complete breeze for beginners. For runes, after selecting your champion, you can click this little button here, and it's going to suggest 3 different rune pages with a short description of what they do. These are all, for the most part, just passives that either enhance your damage, survivability, or even utility in specific ways. A quick note here that if you're playing Swift Play, you're going to be able to select these alongside your champion before the game even starts. Then, the same goes for items in-game. Once you open the shop, you're going to be able to view the recommended items along with a brief description of what they do. Now, while you can definitely make some slight optimizations to these as you learn more about runes and more about items, you honestly really can't go wrong here, as all Riot does is pull the data for these items and rune builds from what other players are most commonly building on that specific champion. And one thing that might not be immediately obvious here to the layman is you don't need to save up for complete items. Just double-click any complete item and the system will automatically buy available components based on your current gold. And you can see your progress toward that item in the bottom right here below your inventory. Now, we touched on WASD earlier in the video, but even as a complete beginner, there's probably a ton of in-game settings that you might want to change right from day one. So let's wrap this video up by going over a few of these. First, let's talk about your camera settings. By default, your camera is now set to dynamic, which automatically follows your champion and lets you look around slightly by moving your cursor to the edge of the screen. This is going to be great for complete beginners to MOBAs in general, since it's going to help you stay centered around your character without really having to think or worry about camera control. That said, dynamic camera has some major limitations. It restricts how much you can easily see, which makes it harder to track enemies in fights and can really limit your awareness. Now, because of this, you'll never see any of the experienced players using this. Instead, the majority of players opt for free camera, as this just gives you complete control. And you can then center the camera at any time by pressing or even holding spacebar. Next, something we suggest that all new players do is to go to the interface and then reduce the size of the HUD. By default, this is set to 100, but we recommend somewhere around 50, as this just lets you see far more of your screen. Then, in the same section, we suggest increasing the size of your minimap. Now, like we mentioned earlier, your minimap is a crucial part of League, and increasing the size can help with your awareness right from the get-go. Again, somewhere around the 50 mark is going to be great. And lastly, enable Show Spell Cost, which is located right here. This simply just shows the exact mana cost for each and every one of your abilities on the icon, making it easy for you to quickly identify how much mana you need for each one, as well as also tell you if you have enough for your full combo. And remember, everything that we've covered in this monstrosity of a guide is just the beginning. If you want to go deeper into the champions, deeper into the settings, and all the fundamentals that we talked about, check out our newly updated beginner's course. This course is designed to put you right on track from day one, building the core skills and habits every player needs, from mastering champion abilities and combos to learning how to play each stage of the game with absolute confidence. We also dive much deeper into the settings, covering things like attack move for better kiting, quick cast for faster combos, and other must-have tools experienced players use every single game. And once you built those fundamentals and you mastered all the basics, the rest of our world-class courses are there to take you to the highest rank possible. So if you want the best possible start to League of Legends and to improve faster than almost anybody else, be sure to check it out today using the exclusive beginner discount code in the description below. So it has been a long ride, folks, and if you made it this far into the video, then thank you so much for watching. We put a ton of work into this. We wish you the best of luck. We hope this video helped introduce you to one of the best games out there, man. We have a blast with it. Hopefully, you'll love it as much as we do. Catch you guys in the next one.
Okay, nothing really new here, but I wanted to see that video. Now let's play. Wait. Okay, I'm going to put these runes because I'm afraid of Garen and Jax, so I think I have to deal more damage to tanky champions, and I'm going to choose these, I don't know how they're called, like those little options among the runes. Because they had, well, I think they had lots of stuns, right? Like Morgana, Jax, Veigar. I mean, I think 3 champions having stuns are a lot of champions. I don't know if you agree, but I don't know. Okay, I'm going to set up and focus.
Bienvenidos a la grieta del invocador. Se han generado súbditos. No puedo evitarlo, lo siento. ¿Cómo te llamas? El trilero nunca pierde, porque Zoe camina. Pasito a pasito y ahora un saltito. Las cosas cambian para seguir igual. Con la tontería. La luz estelar es algo más.
Espero que esto te encienda la bombilla.
tan bonito, no me importaría que todo esto esté a punto de cambiar.
Tu equipo ha destruido una torreta.
No vas a obligarme. Me gusta todo lo que veo a mi alrededor, como las criaturas, las plantas. Me gusta. La rueda gira.
Tu equipo ha destruido una torreta.
Quizás tú no confiaría en mí, pero creo que necesitaría.
I always feel that if I win, it's because I got carried. If I don't get carried, then I don't win, you know? I mean, I did a lot of damage as well. Anyways, that's it for today. See you next time. Bye.